Weogufka, that's all going to track north towards Childersburg, Sylacauga. So Talladega County, watch out there around Sycamore and places over into Clay County. All this is tracking north. So if they hold together, we'll have those storms reaching us. And now storms closing in on Weiss Lake. We've been tracking this storm over center for about the past 30 minutes, and it just kind of shows you how slow this stuff's moving, and one of the reasons why we could end up with some flood concerns as that heavy rain happens. But all of this is not directly related to Beryl, but to the east of that system, we're still seeing all of this tropical moisture. So that's what's feeding these thunderstorms, and we'll see more of these pop-up storms tomorrow. But as far as the direct impacts, those are active tornado warnings across Arkansas, Louisiana. There have been over 40 tornado warnings out of this thing since the system made landfall during the early morning. Notice the center stays well north of us, but until this passes to the north, we'll continue to feel that soupy air and also see those scattered storms through Tuesday. And then the next big thing will be more of a drier trend as we head into the day on Wednesday. But I want to show you some of the footage out of Texas after Beryl made landfall as a Category 1 hurricane early this morning. It made a landfall between Corpus Christi and Galveston around the Matagorda area. Had some wind gusts over 70 to 80 miles per hour. I think I saw an 84 mile per hour wind gust earlier today, but it just shows you it was a very potent Category 1 hurricane. It brought nearly a foot of rain to some areas, even over a foot now as we see some more data coming in. A life-threatening storm surge, widespread damage as it continued moving through Texas with those tornadoes. There were 12 tornado warnings at one point, at one single time. I mentioned over 40 warnings throughout the event. Sadly, at least there have been 3 fatalities. Nearly 2.7 million people were without power at one point. Just keep in mind, you remember not too long ago we had severe storms that impacted the Houston area, and we were talking about thousands without power. And here we go again with folks in this area dealing with over 1 million power outages. But certainly this has been a very impactful system. But let's take a closer look at those numbers right now. And it looks like we have seen some improvements there around the Houston area proper, but surrounding areas, a greater Houston area just north of town there, one county showing 180,000 without power. But notice the outages expand well inland, even not far from Tyler and Shreveport there. Of course, one of the factors we've been talking about, we've been tracking the tornado warnings happening in those areas as well. So I want to go to meteorologist Tania Michelle right now. And Tania, as we watch this, still some active tornado warnings happening in that area with the tropical system. But you have some of the wind measurements, and we were talking winds. We did have some gusts over 80 miles per hour. Very strong hurricane.
Oh, yes, Wes. Listen, I know many people are dealing not just without power, but structural damage and just devastating damage from that storm as it moved through their area. And just take a look here at some of the recorded wind gusts from that system. Hurricane Beryl, like I said, made landfall to the Texas coast as a Category 1 hurricane. But whether it's a Category 1 to a Category 5, it still can bring devastating damage. 94 mile per hour wind gusts near Freeport, 91 near San Bernard, 85 mile per hour wind gusts near one of the airports out there, 84 near Houston, 82 near Galveston Bay, and 66 in Galveston. So that storm really punched a punch. Kicked a punch, made a punch to that coast, and it's continuing to move as a tropical storm as it moves north and east across the United States. Right now, maximum winds at 45 miles per hour, wind gusts up to 60, but you can just see how many tornado warnings there have been over the last hour or so. And let's talk about where it's headed and if we can see any impacts from this exact system. So over the next couple of days, as we bring in our Tuesday into Wednesday, it'll be north and slightly west of the state of Alabama. We'll see some moisture from this more than likely across central Alabama, and watching it very closely where we could see an increased chance for showers and storms again tomorrow afternoon and evening. But notice it's going to continue to weaken as it moves north and east across the United States. Eventually, the remnants of it will probably be in parts of Canada, if not near Buffalo, New York, as we head into later this week around Thursday. But Tropical Storm Beryl still moving and kicking along. It's got maximum sustained winds again at around 45 miles per hour. But that's that tropical update. And even though Beryl won't be directly impacting us, we can still see some indirect impacts. It is impacting those also along the beach. And meteorologist Matt Daniel join us now with more on that.
Well, over the weekend, if you had plans or if you visited the Alabama Gulf Coast, you probably noticed those red flags. And those red flags this past week was because of barrels spinning away in the western Gulf. Today, as you can see in a video from earlier this morning, seen a yellow flag. The surface a little rough at times, but not too bad, but definitely want to use caution. But what about the rip current threat going into the next couple of days? Well, just a reminder when it comes to beach safety, if you see a purple flag, that means dangerous marine life, usually jellyfish. And you're normally going to see yellow or red flags. And a red flag is usually when you definitely want to avoid the waters for a high rip current threat. And if you see double red flags, you're not allowed in the water. You need to stay out. So here's what we're looking at with the rip current threat going into tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. It looks like it's going to be a high risk for rip currents tomorrow and Wednesday. Kind of breezy, and we have a cold front making its way through, so a little unsettled. The water temperatures are warm though, 88 degrees, and I think by Thursday, as we start to see some drier air filter in, we may see that rip current threat back off a little bit into that moderate stage. So just a reminder for this upcoming week, or if you're planning on going vacation next weekend, what is a rip current? It's just a strong current of water moving away from the shore. So you'll be out in the water and all of a sudden you're being taken away from the coast and drifting pretty far back. In a lot of cases, a lot of people really don't know what to do, and so they try to fight it, and then they get caught in it, and that's where we get some drownings and other issues. So the idea is just to not fight it, let it sweep you out a little bit, and then move parallel away from that rip current threat, and then usually you can make your way back to the coast. So just be mindful of that, as the rip current threat will remain pretty high this week. We have the rain chances going into tomorrow and also into Wednesday, very scattered in nature. So that rain chance will probably linger for the middle part of the week when it comes to storm chances. And notice we could still see a few showers and storms going into Friday. So here's a look at your Gulf Coast 7-day forecast. Pretty stormy for tomorrow. A chance for showers and storms again Wednesday, and those rain chances back off and become more widely scattered to isolated going into Thursday and a Friday. Temperatures at the beach in the low 90s. Overnight lows will remain very warm and muggy in the upper 70s and low 80s. And just a reminder, weather on the go. Wherever you go, you can get a forecast through the WBRC First Alert weather app.
Well, when you take a look at First Alert AccuTrack radar and where we have received rain for today, you can see there's a lot of areas where we haven't seen much rainfall, especially you go into northern Shelby County, parts of St. Clair County, Talladega County, Jasper, very dry around Fayette. So all these areas are still a chance that we could have some pop-up showers and storms. Let's flip over to the live radar at the moment, and you can see a lot of stormy development happening down around Coosa County, parts of Clay County. This is drifting to the north. Also seeing some of these storms south of Calera. That's going to be moving to the north. If this does hold together, some of that could reach us here in the parts of Shelby County. We've been dealing with those moderate drought conditions. Also north of Coleman, tracking a storm. We'll probably see more of these showers and storms pop up for tomorrow. That's why we're also including that chance of rain for Tuesday around 60%. Again, I can't promise everybody's going to see rain tomorrow, but you can see the forecast data for the afternoon shows that possibility of those scattered storms, and some of those may be severe, especially that risk for localized flooding. We'll have to watch out for that with the heavy rainfall, and then the rain chances decrease on Wednesday. We've had a lot of storm photos come in. We actually had some video of one viewer described as a water spout over Lay Lake, and we're going to show you some interesting video and talk more about that here coming up. Right now, I want to go back to Tania.
And yes, Wes, believe it or not, the heat is still on too. For those areas who haven't seen much rain, you haven't gotten much heat relief, and that heat advisory is still in effect. And we're not the only ones dealing with the heat. Taking you across the country to California now, where people from around the world are making a stop in Death Valley. Yeah, no. To experience the extreme heat for themselves. Are they crazy? Temperatures reach 128 degrees Saturday, breaking the previous record set in 2007. This comes as a heat wave continues to take place across the U.S. and more than 166 million people on the West Coast under heat advisories as well. Park Ranger Matthew Lamar saying that intense heat can bring major impacts.
Death Valley, it is a dry heat, but that dry heat is pretty intense. So when you step out of your vehicle, it's like stepping your entire body out into an oven. It's just baking, and particularly when you're at these higher temperatures, 125, 100, and potentially 30, there's no mistaking how hot it is. You start to feel it on your skin, in your eyes. They start to dry, start to almost hurt a little bit over time. So it is quite the experience, and so that's why we really recommend that visitors minimize their exposure if they're coming to Death Valley in the summer.
And listen, Death Valley in the western desert remain under an excessive heat warning through Friday night. A similar situation happening across Las Vegas as temperatures reach 120 degrees for the first time in recorded history just yesterday. This is according to data from the National Weather Service. Before yesterday, temperatures had never climbed above 117 degrees. Highs are expected to reach between 115 and 120 in the area through Friday. And in Washington, communities looking for ways to cool down as temperatures continue to soar. Brady Wakawama has more.
I'd say maybe 1 out of every 4 persons coming into the store is looking for a way to cool down this summer.
Fans are the hot seller here at the Ace Hardware located in Seattle's Magnolia neighborhood.
There are a number of different fans that range, anywhere from the $20 range all the way up to about $150.
Tim Clark is the assistant manager of the store. He says the beginning of July is one of the busiest times of the year as customers look for ways to beat the heat.
I had no fans, nope. I didn't want to leave the windows open because it was just letting more hot air in. So that's why I'm here for some air conditioning.
Rick Krejci is one of those folks trying to find some relief.
Seeing this thing, so kind of Arctic air, cool thing. I think I'm going to buy this.
Although fans are blowing off the shelves, Clark says portable AC units are a hot commodity.
I have a number of calls from throughout the city because I think they're hard to find and they're getting harder to find. And people seem to wait till the last minute.
This location doesn't sell any in store, but Clark says people can find them online or at big box stores.
If you're looking for a unit that you can buy and install yourself, we're talking anywhere from a few $100s up to a few $1,000s.
For those looking to get central AC installed, King 5 discovered most HVAC businesses in town have an estimated range between $7,000 to $13,000. Clark just hopes people are able to stay safe as the summer heat continues.
All right, thank you so much.
Drink plenty of water, stay hydrated, and get a fan. Get a fan and cool off.
Reporting in Seattle, Brady Wakayama, King 5 News.
And welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. At this time, tracking some intense rainfall over Coosa County around the Rockford area. Very heavy rain. Also expanding back in towards Lake Mitchell, and that's all lifting in around Lay Lake. We had some storms over the past couple days in those areas. Ashland to Goodwater, also heavy rain. This is slowly moving to the north, so this will impact places like Sylacauga and perhaps reach us around Childersburg. But I want to flip over to the rainfall rates and just show you this. The radar estimating 7 inches of rain per hour rainfall rate. So that's telling us if this storm were to just stay in place here and produce the intense rain like it's producing right now for an hour, we'd end up with possibly around 7 inches of rainfall. So it is pouring, and that's a look to the south there from Oak Grove. It looks like we have a nice little shelf cloud there that's starting to move to the north. If you see something like that, very ominous. Sometimes you get these fibrous, very kind of low base clouds that develop in this sort of environment sometimes, and you'll see something like that. Doesn't necessarily mean tornado or severe, but what it's telling us is there's a lot of moisture out there, and a lot of times you'll see those shelf clouds develop where we have the rain-cooled air, but that's moving in from the south there around Sylacauga, but moving in our direction around Blount County. A live look from Nectar. We're showing 95 degrees, but we have rain falling. There's still a lot of us. Pell City dry, not seeing much rainfall, but what happens if you notice where you're at, it starts to become rather breezy. It's because there's likely some storms not far from where you are, and that rain-cooled air sends these little rain-cooled breezes around the state, so hopefully that will bring some relief for those areas where we haven't seen much rainfall, but we're going to see more pop-up showers and storms. I even think past midnight we could see a little bit of rain on radar, and then tomorrow morning maybe some isolated showers and storms, especially by lunchtime and into the afternoon. It's still going to be a hot and humid day. Looks like the heat index could top 100 tomorrow, but as what's left of Tropical Storm Beryl passed north of Alabama, drier air moves in Wednesday and Thursday, and that's it. Looks dry for the rest of the work week after that point. Highs in the 90s and noticeably less sticky, less muggy as we go to Thursday and Friday. So pick those days for the yard work. I think some nice improvements there. Saturday and Sunday, though, this weekend, still hot. Highs back in the mid-90s, but we will see a 20% chance for an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. And speaking of weekend, had a lot of storm photos I mentioned that were shared over this past holiday weekend from around the area with thunderstorms. And we also had some video of what looked to be water spouts over Lay Lake. And Alex Feltz shared this video on Twitter, and we saw this. We took a closer look at this over the past couple days, and it certainly looked rather interesting there. A lot of times we see these circulations like this. It happened on Smith Lake last week. We saw some pictures and some video, but what's going on, and I talked with our friends at the National Weather Service, some boundary interaction, and this is more of a land-based circulation, and that's what we see. There's actually a circulation called a land spout, so it's more in the family of the land spout type circulation there, not necessarily a water spout, which is actually more of an atmospheric circulation. You typically, with something like that, you would see a well-defined funnel-like cloud that would extend south and also in contact there with the water. But certainly, any way you put it, it was swirling, and certainly several vortices, multiple vortex circulations there over Lay Lake, and probably not a good idea to be on the water or in the middle of that, right? We did have storms that moved in, and with all the heat and with storms in some areas, that sets off a lot of these circulations that we see out there. As we go to meteorologist Tania Michelle, you get the heat, you get the cool air, you get that instability. So we see a lot of videos like that this time of year.
Oh yeah, Wes, and listen, the summer months are still coming and still going and gonna stay with us for a minute. So get ready, and hopefully you're enjoying the heat in the summer months. I know it's hot, but look at this. As we look 6 to 10 days out from now, July 14th through July 18th, still looking at above average temperatures all across the U.S. So we're not the only ones battling the heat. This is not a lone battle, okay? But we're going to continue to see above average temperatures even as we continue throughout the month of July. So the heat will stay with us. The big question is, will there be any rain to help cool us off? As we look 6 to 10 days out from now, again, July 14th through July 18th, a good mixture across the U.S. Some states more near average rainfall, others above average, like the northeastern states from New York, even including parts of Virginia and even parts of Georgia. But over towards the south southwestern states like New Mexico above average. Maybe some of those northwestern states across the Pacific Northwest below average. But for us here at home, we're going to be seeing more near average rainfall. So what does that mean for us? It means that on average, we'll be getting right about that much rain where we would be on average of this time of year. So more showers and storms for the afternoon cannot be ruled out. That's what you get during these summer months. But don't go anywhere. We'll have more for you right here on Weather Extra after the break.
And we got some video coming in. This is some of that flooding happening there around parts of Jefferson County. This was from Christopher Devon sharing this on my Twitter feed, but you can see a lot of rain. Just does not take long there. You encounter some of those heavier downpours, and Ryan Carty sharing this from the 600 block there of Flint Hill Road in Bessemer, so be careful if you're in that area. And just some more video that we had from earlier there, but a lot of pictures, a lot of video coming in, Tania. That flooding, need to watch these storms through tomorrow, but drier for Wednesday.
That's good. But listen, we need the rain. No complaining when it's raining. Y'all be safe out there. We'll have more forecast updates. Well, Wes will tonight, first at 9.
See you at 9.
Bye, Kimberlyn. See you, girl. I'm ready. Let's do it in 3, 2. Hey there, everyone. First Alert meteorologist Tania Michelle here with that 7-day forecast. We have scattered showers and storms in the forecast tomorrow, starting throughout your afternoon and into your evening. It's still going to be a very hot, humid day, but notice as we bring in your Wednesday and even Thursday of this week, we're going to see less humid conditions, a little less muggy out there. Some drier air is going to filter in. We'll also see some drier conditions, but as we head into the weekend, we heat right back up. We'll see an isolated shower or storm possible, and then increasing rain and storm chances for early next week. Highs this week mainly in the 90s. Keep in mind the days that are more humid, like your Tuesday, those heat index values still easily in the upper 90s, if not low 100s. So practice heat safety, stay hydrated, wear your sunscreen, avoid any strenuous outdoor activities for long periods of those afternoon hot hours. Overnight temps in the 60s, if not low 70s. If you want more forecast updates, you can download the WBRC First Alert weather app.